वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातिरवनचारी यमुनातिरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, everyone. Now we will go to Prabhupada's Leelamrita, chapter 15. Share my screen. Hopefully everybody can see my screen.
Yes, Mataji, you can see your screen.
Cool. So, January 21, he received Bon Maharaj's reply 2 weeks before. Prabhupada had written to his godbrother, the director of the Institute of Oriental Philosophy in Vrindavana, that he had found a place for a temple in New York and he wanted to install deities of Radha and Krishna. In his reply, Bon Maharaj quoted price estimates for 14-inch brass deities of Radha Krishna. But he also warned that to begin deity worship would be a heavy responsibility. Srila Prabhupada responded, I think that after the temple has started, some men, even from America, may be available, as I see they have at the Ramakrishna Mission, as well as in so many yoga societies. So I'm trying to open a temple here because Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wanted it. Prabhupada also requested Bon Maharaj's assistance in getting the government to sanction release of the money he felt Padampat Singhanias would donate. He mentioned that he had carried on an extensive personal correspondence with the Vice President of India, Dr. Radha Krishnan, who was also known to Bon Maharaj. Tell him that it is not an ordinary temple of worship, but an international institute of God consciousness based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. January 22. While Srila Prabhupada prayed to receive Radha Krishna in New York, a snowstorm hit the city. That morning, Srila Prabhupada, who had perhaps never before seen snow, woke and thought that someone has whitewashed the side of the building next door. Not until he went outside, he discovered that it was snow. The temperature was 10 degrees. The city went into a state of emergency, but Prabhupada continued his daily walks. Now he had to walk through heavy snow, only a thin dhoti beneath his overcoat, his head covered with his Swami hat. The main roads were cleared, but many sidewalks were covered with snow. Along the strip of park dividing Broadway, the gusting winds piled snowbanks to shoulder height and buried the benches. The Broadway kiosks, plastered with layers of posters and notices, were now plastered with additional layers of snow and ice. But despite the weather, New Yorkers still walked their dogs, their pets now wearing raincoats and mackinaws. Such pampering by American dog owners left Prabhupada with a feeling of surprise amusement. As he approached West End Avenue, he found the doormen blowing whistles to signal taxis as usual, but also scattering salt to melt the ice and create safe sidewalks in front of the buildings. In Riverside Park, the benches pathway off a shimmering reflection from the sky. In the news, selective service officials announced the first substantial increase in the draft since the Korean War. A month long ago, peace ended with the US Air Force bombing North Vietnam. The New York transit strike ended after 3 weeks, and the transit labor leader died in jail of a heart attack. January 30, the East Coast was hit by severe blizzards. 7 inches of snow fell on the city. With winds up to 50 miles an hour, the city of New York offered warm rooms and meals for people living in tenements without heat. JFK Airport was closed, as were train lines and roadways into the city for the second time. Within 8 days, a state of emergency was declared because of snow. As a lone individual, Srila Prabhupada could not do anything about the snow emergency or the international welfare. He saw these as mere symptoms of the age of Kali. Always there would be misery in the material world, but if he could bring Radha and Krishna to a building in New York, nothing was impossible for the Supreme Lord. Even in the midst of the Kali Yuga, a golden age could appear and people could get relief. If Americans could take to Krishna consciousness, the whole world would follow. Seeing through the eyes of the scriptures, Srila Prabhupada pushed on through the blizzard and pursued the thin trail for support of his Krishna consciousness mission. February 4, he wrote again to Tirth Maharaj, who had agreed to try for the government sanction if he received written confirmation from a responsible donor pledging the funds for a temple. Prabhupada informed him that the donor would be Sir Padampat Singhania, and he enclosed Mr. Singhania's favorable letter of the 14th. Prabhupada reminded his godbrother. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta wanted such temple in foreign cities like New York, London, Tokyo, and I had personal talks with him when I first met him at Altadanga in 1922. Now there is a chance for me to carry out his transcendental order. I am just seeking your favor and mercy in making this attempt successful. I'll stop there, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
And we'll start with today's verse, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam. But before that, I'll do the prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dhariyat Nashtaprayese Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. We are in Canto 4, Chapter 24, and verse number 35. Sankarshanyas Shukshmaya Durantaya Antakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaratmane Sankarshanaaya Sukshmaya Durantaya Anantaya Antakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantara Atmane Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantaya Antakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantar Atmane. Anybody else would like to recite the verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandvat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Shankarshanaya Shukshmaya Durantaya Antakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaratmane. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am also trying.
Please try, Prabhuji.
Sankarshanaya Shukshmaya Dharantayantakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnaya Antaratmane.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shankarshanaaya Shukshmaya Durantayantakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaratmane. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am also trying.
Please, Mataji.
Shankarshanaaya Sukshmaya Durantayatmakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantaratmane. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm also trying.
Please try, Mataji.
Sankarshanaya Shukshmaya Durantaya Antakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnayantara Atmane. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. We'll go to word translation. Sankarshanaya. onto the master of integration, Sukshmaya, onto the subtle, unmanifested material ingredients, Durantaya, onto the unsurpassable, Antakaya, onto the master of disintegration, Cha, also, Nama, obeisances, Vishwa Prabodhaya, onto the master of the development of the universe, Pradyumnaya, onto Lord Pradyumna, Anta Atmane, onto the super soul in everyone's heart. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody would like to read the translation?
Yes, Mataji, I can.
Okay, Mataji, please.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, you are the origin of the subtle material ingredients, the master of all integration as well as the master of all disintegration, the predominating deity named Sankarsana, and the master of all intelligence, known as the predominating deity Pradyumna. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. And purport, anybody would like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The whole universe is maintained by the integrating power of the Supreme Lord, who is known in that capacity by the name Shankarshan. The material scientist may have discovered the law of gravity, which maintains the integration of objects within the material energy. Yet, the master of all integration can create devastation by the disintegrating blazing fire emanating from his mouth. A description of this can be found in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, wherein the universal form of the Lord is described. The master of integration is also the destroyer of this world by virtue of his disintegrating energy. Shankarshan is the master of integration and disintegration, whereas Pradyumna, another feature of the Lord Vasudev, is responsible for universal growth and maintenance. The word Sukshmaya is significant because within this gross material body there are subtle materials body, namely mind, intelligence and ego. The Lord in his different features, Vasudev, Anuruddha, Pradyumna and Shankarshan, maintains both the gross and subtle material elements of this world. As mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, the gross material elements are earth, water, fire, air and ether, and the subtle material elements, the mind, intelligence and ego. All of them are controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Anuruddha, and this will be further explained in the following verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Om Jnana Timandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Vedvyas Priya Swami Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in today's verse, it's a wonderful purport that Prabhupada has explained everything so clearly for us to understand. So just to set up the context of where we are, what we have seen previously is that Prachinna Bharhi ordered his sons Prachetas to perform austerities. That go to forest, perform austerities, worship the Supreme Lord. And that was for them to follow the brahmacharya ashram, for them to become strong. To when a child is put into a training of brahmacharya ashram, they become mentally and physically strong, and that helps them eventually to be spiritually strong. That's why the prachetas were sent to forest. So when they were going inside the forest, they saw very calm lake, clear water with swan, lotuses were around, creepers were looking very beautiful, birds were around, trees were all over, nice greenery. And Lord Shiva came there voluntarily to enlighten these princes. And then one may think that Lord Shiva doesn't randomly appear. So why he appeared? He appeared because he was pleased with them for their desire for worshipping the Supreme Lord. There was a festive atmosphere when he appeared, and a celestial music was going on to indicate that, oh, Lord Shiva has appeared. And he came in front of them and said, I have come to give you my mercy. So this is what happens. This is what happens when a sincere devotee worships Krishna. Then that devotee automatically gets mercy of great Vaishnavas, of Krishna's great devotees. And without getting the mercy from Krishna's great devotees, of course, we can't attain Krishna, or we can't even understand bhakti. So this explains that it is very important to seek mercy of great Vaishnavas. In verse 28, which I have also mentioned on the screen, it's quite interesting, and it was important to explain that how Lord Shiva sees Krishna's devotees. He's saying any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. So there are lots of yogis, lots of people worship to Lord Shiva for material benefits, but he's not pleased with them. He's pleased with devotional service to Lord Krishna. So Lord Shiva wears two hats. One is Anybody asks for material benefits, he gives them. But at the same time, if somebody actually asks him, like if you actually surrender to someone or your teacher or your spiritual master, you would ask what would please you. So for Lord Shiva, if he is actually merciful, he will give bhakti to you. He will give the most rare thing, which is bhakti, Krishna bhakti. It's very important, very easy to give fulfill anybody's material desires, but it's very difficult to get the blessing of bhakti. It's very rare. And Lord Shiva is also rarely seen by common men. And similarly, a person who is fully surrendered unto Vasudeva, Krishna is also very rarely seen, because a person who is fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord is very rare, as we saw. So, Mahatma Sudurlava. So Lord Shiva came specially to see Prachetas because they were fully surrendered unto Krishna. And he himself is saying, as we saw in this verse, that he himself is a Vaishnava, and Vasudeva devotees are very dear to him. So we saw previously that a person fixed in dharma for 100 births attain the post of Brahma. And somebody by more pious acts can attain Lord Shiva. But only by unalloyed devotional service, a Vaishnava attains Vaikuntha. So Lord Shiva further explains that this is why devotees like you are as dear to me as the Lord himself. And the devotees also consider Lord Shiva as dear to them as the Lord himself, because he is the greatest Vaishnava. So now the greatest Vaishnava wants to enlighten these prachetas in the process of bhakti. So he teaches them Rudra Gita from verse 34, 35, 36, and 37, and also follow on. But these four are the first part of the Rudra Gita. So next we will see that it has four parts. In the first part, he offers obeisances to the controlling deities of various senses and all the elements. So as we saw, Prabhupada has also explained in the purport, the gross elements and subtle elements. Even the body is made of the 5 gross elements and for 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and false ego. So he offers obeisances to Chaturviha and the presiding deities of purification. So first offered prayers to Vasudeva, then Sankarshana, then Pradyumna, and then Anuruddha. So basically the purpose of offering these prayers were to purify one's internal and external senses. So yesterday's verse was explaining how he offers prayers to Vasudeva, who is a deity of consciousness, Chitta. So by purpose of that prayer was that please make my Chitta peaceful and unchanging, and make it conscious of bhakti by revealing your beauty. So this process is Krishna consciousness. We need to cleanse, purify our consciousness from self-consciousness to Krishna consciousness. And that's why the prayer helps to get our chitta peaceful. And the next, which we saw in this current verse, so the prayer is to, next is Sankarshana, who is the deity of false ego, Ahankara. It's described as master of integration or the destroyer of the universe. So Lord Shiva says, "Oh Lord Sankarsana, please purify my false ego." So people might think, what is false ego? Of course, many know about false ego and ego, but in generally material context, ego is seen as arrogance or some other context. But in this context, ego is your identity. So real ego is to know your real identity, and false ego is when you associate with this material body or the bodily designation, like I am male, I am female, I am Indian, she is Kiwi, I am Gujarati, I am not Gujarati, I'm Bihari, or I'm Punjabi, or I'm Telugu, or all of these designations that people have, and they categorize, and how people think that this is mine, this is theirs, based on the bodily common things that they see among the bodily designation, is all arising from the false perception of your belonging to this body, where people forget the internal soul. So the deity of Sankarsana was offered prayers to make himself identify as the true servant of the Lord, and that is real ego. So when Lord Sankarsana, the prayer is given to Lord Sankarsana, the purpose of that prayer is bind my possessiveness to the Lord and my ego, ahankara, to my true identity as Krishna's devotee, as his servant, as his eternal servant. Because without that, one will be entangled in this bodily conception of life. And then Lord Shiva teaches to offer prayers to Pradyumna. So Pradyumna is the deity of intelligence, buddhi. So one can utilize his intelligence in planning and scheming for Krishna's service. So intelligence, of course, people are intelligent. Materially, people could be very intelligent. So what does it means to purify the intelligence? Is when one's intelligence is used in Krishna's service. That's when somebody, so we can be intelligent in building a huge building, a huge building or a sky tower, or we can create some whole foundation or a company, and lots of things we can do with our intelligence in this material world. But real intelligence is that, do you know who you are, who your real self is? So when person don't focus on their spirituality and only run after the material designations, power, and just living this life bounded by only with the bodily conception of life, then that is not a purified intelligence. So when the prayer is given to Lord Pradyumna, the purpose of that prayer was, wake up my intelligence so it will situate me in bhakti, because that is the proper intelligence, to use it in Krishna's service. And then, of course, Prabhupada has mentioned about Aniruddha and the purport as well, and it will be seen in the next verse also. Aniruddha is the presiding deities of mind. And Lord Shiva offers the prayer to Aniruddha later on, seeking blessing to engage mind in thinking about Krishna. So functions of mind are thinking, feeling, willing, acting. So all these comes from mind. So when we are confused, sometimes people get confused that, oh, some of the thoughts is coming from within. So is it coming from mind level, or is it coming from a proper purified intelligence level? But as long as it is the feeling category, it is the thinking category, it is very much coming from the mind. So if we direct our thinking, feeling, and willing and our act to Krishna's service, then it is the right use of our mind. And for that, we need blessings from the controlling deities of all these antakaras. So before I summarize these antakaras, so Aniruddha's purpose of praying to Lord Aniruddha was to attract my mind so that the Lord's lotus feet through bhakti alone and keep it in the perfect state of cleanliness. So cleanliness, basically, that nothing unwanted appears in the mind, which will distract one from the path of bhakti. So these antakaras is chitta, consciousness, mana, mind, buddhi, intelligence, ahankara, ego. So the Chatur Vayus, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are presiding deities of these 4 antakaras. So Lord Shiva offers these prayers to these 4 deities to purify his antakaras and align them to the process of bhakti yoga. But this is not it. In the second part of he describes the beautiful form of Krishna, which we will see later on in the verses when in other Bhagavatam classes. So to link it with how Lord's expansions are worshipped to help us purify our senses, to help us go towards Krishna and develop our bhakti, I would like to share a pastime, a very beautiful pastime of Mother Yashoda. And because it's Damodar month, I'm sure you will relish this pastime. It's from chapter 6, where Mother Yashoda prays to different deities for the protection of Krishna. It is the chapter where Putna takes Damodara, little Lord Krishna, to kill him. And of course, Lord being himself, nobody can kill him. He doesn't need protection. And he did, after killing Putna, what happens? I'll read that. So after Putna was killed, the gopis saw little Krishna fearlessly playing on Putna's lap. They very quickly came and picked him up. Mother Yashoda, Rohini, and other elder gopis immediately performed the auspicious rituals by taking the tail of a cow and circumambulating his body. The child was completely washed with the urine of a cow, and the dust created by the hoofs of the cow was thrown all over his body. So he was all just to save little Krishna from future inauspicious accidents. So this is what happens when mother's heart is very soft. So if anything happens to the child, we get very worried. So we want to do all these we want to do everything to make sure nothing inauspicious happens. So that is the heart of a mother. So this incident gives us a clear indication also, because cow's importance is mentioned. So it gives us clear indication of how important the cow is to the family, society, and to living being in general. The transcendental body of Krishna did not require any protection, but to instruct us on the importance of the cow, the Lord was smeared over with cow dung, washed with the urine of a cow, and sprinkled with the dust upraised by walking of the cows. So, and after this purificatory process, the gopis headed by Mother Yashoda and Rohini, and they chanted the names of Vishnu to give Krishna's body full protection from all evil influences. So they washed their feet and hands and sipped water 3 times, as is the custom before chanting mantra. They chanted as follows: My dear Krishna, may the Lord who is as Aja protect your legs. May Lord Maniman protect your knees. May Lord Yashna protect your thighs. May Lord Achyuta protect your upper waist. May Lord Hayagriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Isha protect your chest. May Lord Surya protect your neck. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukrava protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhara protect your front. May Lord Gadadhara protect your back. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow in his hand, protect your right side. May Lord Ajana protect your left side. May Lord Urugaya, with his conch shell, protect you on all sides. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from above. May Lord Tarkshya protect you on the ground. May Lord Haladhara protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead known as Rishikesha protect all your senses. May Lord Narayana protect your life airs. May the Lord of Sweta Dvipa Narayana protect the core of your heart. May Lord Yogeshwara protect your mind. May Lord Prashnigarbha protect your intelligence, and may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul. So while you are playing, may Lord Govinda protect you from all sides, and when you are sleeping, may Lord Madhava protect you from all danger. When you are walking, may the Lord of Vaikuntha protect you from falling down. When you are sitting, may Lord Narayana give you all protection. And while you are eating, may the Lord of all sacrifices give you all protection. And thus, Mother Yashoda chanted different names of Vishnu to protect child Krishna's different bodily parts. So Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced that she should protect her child from different kinds of evil spirits and ghosts. Prabhupada mentioned those some of the ghost names as Dakinis, Yatusudhanis, Kushmandhas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Vinayakas, Kotharas, Revatis, Jethas, Putanas, Matrakas, Unmadas, and similar other evil spirit who cause person to forget their own existence and give trouble to the life ears and senses. So sometimes they appear in dreams and cause much disturbance, and sometimes they appear as old women and suck the blood of the small children. But no such ghosts and evil spirits can remain where there is chanting of the holy name of God. So Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced of the Vedic injunction about the importance of cows and the holy name of Vishnu. Therefore, she took all shelter in the cows and the name of Vishnu, just to protect her child Krishna. She recited all the holy names of Vishnu so that he might save the child. Vedic culture has taken advantage of keeping cows and chanting the holy name of Vishnu since the beginning of the history. And persons who are still following the Vedic ways, especially the householders, keep at least 1 dozen cows and worship the deity of Lord Vishnu, who's installed in their house, which used to happen in olden days, for keeping 1 dozen of cows. But person who are advancing, so Srila Prabhupada mentions in Krishna book, the person who are advancing in Krishna consciousness should take instructions from this pastime and also be very interested in cows and the holy name of Vishnu and Krishna. So the elder gopis of Vrindavana were so absorbed in affection of Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. But they could not understand that Krishna was the supreme personality of Godhead playing as a child. But after performing the formalities to protect the child, Mother Yashoda felt that he was safe. And of course, she is a very topmost devotee of Krishna. That is, she is in that loving motherly relationship with Krishna. So similarly in Rudra Gita, Lord Shiva is praying to the Lord in different expansion, the form of Chaturviha and the presiding deities to teach us the need to purify our senses. Just like we know of other expansions of Krishna that he takes for a particular purpose. For example, for protection of his devotee Prahalad Maharaj, he expanded that as Narasimhadev. And we know other expansion of Lord as Mahavishnu, as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Karnadakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu. So Lord expands as super soul to even accompany every living entity out of his extraordinary love and compassion for us. He wants to give company to every living entity, even though they want to live in this material world. Lord does work in, so what we don't understand that if everything is resting upon him, if he removes his energy, then nothing in this world can function, nor even the planetary system, nor even our own body will function. And we see in Canto 1 of chapter 3, where it mentioned Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Especially in verse 28 of chapter 3 of Canto 1, after explaining all the few major incarnations, that verse mentions that of all the above incarnations that has been explained are either plenary portion or portion of the plenary portion of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appears on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheist. But the Lord incarnates to protect the theist. So, in summary, as part of the Rudra Gita, what I'd like to summarize this, that Sankarshana is the deity of false ego, and we pray to free from false ego. And one practical way to to purify our false ego is by offering service to devotees, by being humble. Humility is the way to get rid of our false ego. So the more and more we can offer service to Krishna and his devotees, then we are taking a subordinate position, and it is not all about me, mine, I, but it is more about Krishna and Krishna's service and Krishna's devotees. And similarly, for Pradyumna, it is the deity of intelligence. So from him, it is prayed that please let me use my intelligence in bhakti. And we can purify our intelligence by reading scriptures, by getting rightly situated in the right understanding of the process of Krishna consciousness. And in the next verse, which is about Aniruddha, and to whom the prayer is done for the purification of the mind. So the practical way to purify our mind is mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we should be chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to purify our mind. Thank you, everyone. If anybody has any comments or questions, can take them now. But I would like to stop this here.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Pranam, Prabhuji.
That's beautiful explanation of this. Starting of Rudra Gita, which starts from 33 and continues to 68. And we are just in the beginning few verses. And the importance of this different deities and in the expansion of Krishna, how they are important in our devotional life, to understand that the process of Antakaran is so important before you start the devotional service. Our all consciousness, whether it is presentation of Vasudev or Shankarshan, which is the presentation of false ego, and Pradyumna intelligence and mind, Anuruddha, is things to be very purified before we enter into the devotional service. Without purification, we cannot proceed. And Lord Shiva is helping us to understand the importance of this subtle body and gross body, to make it in alignment with the bhakti, so that the process can be achieved very nicely without any obstruction. So to make ourselves prepared for the attainment of bhakti, these things should be purified, and that is how it is mentioned. And he explained through this the story of Lord Krishna in his childhood pastime, how nicely Mother Jashoda and Raini was trying to save Lord Krishna as a small child by purifying him with varieties of ingredients, which signifies the importance of cows in our life. That's a very attracting one. So it is very important for a Vaishnava or for a devotee of the Lord to save the cow in the purpose of our purification, so that we can help us to proceed in our spiritual journey in a right perspective, as Lord Shiva was trying to explain. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
If there are no further comments, then we can close the platform. Mataji, thank you so much for the class. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha
Patitanam Vaishnaveभ्यो नमो नमः
अनंत कोटि
अनंत
वैष्णव
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद
की
की
जय।
जय
हर ग्रेस अनंगलता देवी दासी माता जी की
की
जय।
जय
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
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 हरि बोल
All glories